Welcome to Calvert, the Digital Creative School. Hello! Welcome. I hope you enjoyed the countdown song. I just finished creating it before this stream here. It's very tight. I think I worked on it for like an hour. Yeah, I hope it worked out well, and I hope it sounded cool. Let me know. Let me know if it was a nice little countdown song. All right, but yeah, today we're going to get into TouchDesigner. TouchDesigner is a software that I wanted to learn and try out for a long time now because I'm really interested in creating interactive experiences, and TouchDesigner seems to be kind of like the tool to be able to create any type of interactive art experience with like its many input and output functions, right? So, for example, you can input like a touch screen and you get out, I don't know, like a stable diffusion image or something. Like, it seems like it's really open, right? And it's also really good for creating visuals, kind of like abstract generative visuals for video creation. So yeah, just really excited in general to like see the possibilities and worlds we can create with this. All right, let me switch my desktop scene here. Oh wait, where's my desktop? Oh no. Oh, I think it's because I started OBS after I switched my desktop. Wait, let me see if I can fix it. All right, here we go. Now we got it. All right, so yeah, this is TouchDesigner. I just installed it and I never touched it. Like this is pure like raw testing out the program. So I don't even know many of the buttons to do anything. But I think we could just, to start off, we could just like look at some of the demo files and see what's happening. So basically it's a node editor, right? It has some different endpoints. Like we've got an image here. We displace it with some kind of LFO here, some kind of noise. I'm not sure what this does. Chop to. This chops it to something else. So I guess this LFO, we can't put it directly into there. But let's see. How do I even connect? Ah, okay. So I can not put that in here. All right. Okay. This is gonna be a steep learning curve. But we've got a 3D geometry here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we can just go in here. Oh, that's good. The canvas seems to be like infinitely scalable. Okay, that's cool. So we just have like a little 3D viewer right here. Nice, nice. Okay, I want to see if we... Oh, wait. Then I guess this out is just like a video output, right? If it's going through the 3D node, so... What is it outputting from this? Because it looks the same as the displacement here, right? So why is it going into a 3D view and then out again? Oh, I see. Ah, okay. So this is a video output again. So I'm guessing, shouldn't there be like some kind of like camera or something that projects onto this output? Oh, all right, a lot of mysteries. Let's open demo file, if it even has demo files. Let's see, open. Okay, there's no demo files here. Okay. I guess we can just play around with this then. Okay, so if I double click, I expect these are all the nodes we can use, right? So can I search for something? So for example, I want to have a MIDI input. Chop MIDI in, okay. Okay, we got a MIDI in, MIDI source device, yes. I have a MIDI keyboard here, but it doesn't do anything yet. Video file. Maybe I need to set that up in the settings. Damn. Okay, this program has a very steep learning curve. I need to figure out what does what here. Maybe we should just watch a little. I started watching this this tutorial beginner course here, but I only came to half of the first video. So I think let's just like finish watching the first maybe 1, 2 or 3 videos and see what the basics are.
So TouchDesigner is really like versatile when it comes to how you actually apply it or where you actually use it. So you can use it in any kind of multimedia installations because you can, or like interactive multimedia installations because you can like, I don't know, use a Kinect.
Shout out to Bilim Chepe, Electronaut, by the way, for creating these tutorials. He's also a Berliner. In the first video he said that he lives in Berlin, so very cool.
To get some body information, like movement information of your visitors, and then make that change the visual that you are. It's really easy to extend with all kinds of different operators, as you can see here. If we just look in here, these are all the operators that you can use. As you can see, those are quite a few, and you also have the option to actually add custom ones. So TouchDesigner really is endless, it feels like. I'm going to end this by just showing you, like you can have a look at the showcase here on the TouchDesigner website, and I'm also going to link.
Okay, let's see the next tutorial here.
All right, so this is going to be a very short.
Okay, this is all about just installation and stuff. So what is this one about? The interface. Yes.
All right, so let's talk about the interface now. We have 3 main parts of our interface, and up here there are kind of some settings, menus, and the navigation system or navigation bar. Then we have our main network line and some timeline settings down here. All right, so and we also have like a timeline and some timeline settings down here. All right, so we also have this palette, which I'm going to talk about in a second. We have 4 menus here. About the file menu and the dialog, the preferences, and also the help I'm going to make other videos about. So these are pretty straightforward. And we have 3 links to the wiki, forum, and tutorials page of the Derivative CA website. We have a kind of on and off button, or cooking on off button, and this just means when we turn this off, nothing is processed in our project. So quite straightforward as well. Also, we have the FPS here. So this is just telling us and what kind of frame rate our project is currently running. So you can set that here, I usually just use 60 FPS, and this should also be running at least 50. You also have this real-time checkbox, which should usually just be turned on, but if you there's going to be times when we want to turn this off. And then we have this little box here that just tells us what we last did. So if I delete this and undo that, so you can see my actions there. Then we have this little button here, and we hover over it, like over any kind of button here, except for these. We get like the name of what it is. When I click on this, or I can also press F1. So if I do that, the project kind of runs. So the network completely closes, and you're only running the output. So don't close it here because you're going to close the entire program. So just press Escape to go back. We're going to talk about that later as well. So then if we click on this weird little symbol here, the palette opens, and the palette is just a list or like a folder system of pre-made components, so reusable like tools. And stuff like
that's
that.
useful.
So we can just...
Okay, I want to play around with that a little bit. So, okay, so these are pre-made tools, generators. And we have a little preview on the bottom there. Mesh, noise. Subperformer. Let's check out the mesh. Okay, so if we disable this, then we can move it around. Is there a way to give it some input, like input a mesh? Shape, sign. Okay. Horn. So I guess these are pre-installed meshes. I don't see an option for a custom mesh. Maybe that's somewhere else. Shell, nice. WebRTC Vive. Oh, nice. We got some HTC Vive stuff here. Oculus Rift. Oh, that would be actually cool. Oculus Rift. What does this create? I have a quest here. Maybe Oh, it actually starts my Meta Quest application. Okay. So I guess if I put on my headset now, I would see this. That's cool. I'll try that another time. UI. Got some operators here. Bitwig. Oh, wait. Is this the audio program I'm using? Bitwig. Oh, damn. I think this is actually using... yeah, I use this program Bitwig to create music. It's also where I created the countdown soundtrack in here. So this would be cool if it has like an interaction with that program. Let's see, Bitwig clip. Track. Main. IP address. Oh, okay. It's all very advanced. It feels very like a very advanced stuff here. Image filters. Bloom. Okay, that's cool. Oh, that should be something we can apply already, right? Just putting some bloom on this. This place. Oh no, where's the image? Oh no. I removed the image. Wait, can we just do a new one? Good.
To drag and drop anything of that in here, and also then have a look at how that's done. So you have like a lot of pre-made.
Oh, you can just zoom further inside to see how it's made. That's cool. Oh, what the fuck? Form. Oh wow, wait, so if I zoom in here, I enter a new world. That's pretty cool. Perform. What is this? Can I go in here? Oh, I can go in there too. Oh wow, it really seems like you have access to the whole... Oh my god. You have access to the whole code in a node way. You're just able to zoom into almost everything? Oh my god, wow. This feels like a rabbit hole, you know? Like where am I going? What else is in there? User map, okay, nothing is in here. How do you get back? Local, MIDI, bass, okay. Go perform. This is the project though, project 1. Yes, sorry, I'm in project now. Can I get 3D scope? Let's see that. Okay. Generators. Formula. Let's just get some normal noise, and then I can probably also zoom into that, right, to like see how it works. Very cool. Oh, this is just some code, okay. Yeah, I can't zoom into code, that would make sense. Can I zoom into this RGB thing? No, okay. So, okay, let's just zoom out to get out. Wow, this is pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so noise. Let's try to get input. Can we get... Okay, we can't just drag it out. Can I get like a... Wait, find operator. Oh no, I don't want to find it in here. I don't want that. Add operator. Add operator, and then I use a FO. Oh, noise. Just some noise. Yes, this kind of noise. Okay. And what happens if I put this in here? Okay, interesting. Okay, and then I want to animate this somehow. Oh, I can't zoom in this. Viewer. Bypass, What is all this? Nice coordinate map, background image. Okay, these are 2 inputs. Did this one also have 2 inputs? Or no, this one just has 1. Okay, I guess coordinate map could change how the noise looks like then. But what can I put in there? That? Okay, so I can just right click on the input and then it shows me a list of things that work with it. Yeah. Okay, so I want just a number, like a sine wave, I guess, maybe? Value, I want a value. Okay, let's continue watching the tutorial for a little bit. Maybe everything will make more
image
sense
filters
then.
and stuff like that already in here. And also there's this My Components section here, so you can add your own components. You can make kind of like a folder or like a group of operators, and then you can put them here for later use. All right, so then we have this section here called pane layout and these weird rectangles here. So what this means, this whole area with the network inside and this navigation bar up here, it's called a pane. And we can make several of this or split these into several. So I can, for example, click on this and then it's split into left and right. I can also achieve this by clicking on this drop down arrow here and then saying split left right or top bottom. And here I can do the same again and then say split top bottom. And now I can now I have several options what I can do with this. So for once you can be at several parts of or like several positions in your network. So I can go in here, I can be here and work on several parts or like several positions. That is one use for this. The other one is that you can actually change what you're seeing here. So it doesn't have to be the network. You can also just click on here and then you can look at something like the panel, which doesn't show anything right now, or the geometry viewer. So you can see your 3D geometry in the world space and look at like there's a few options that we might talk about at some point. And there's an animation editor that you can also have that you might want to work with if you're like working with keyframe animation. And so you could have something like the geometry viewer up here and then something like the text port down here, which is just kind of giving you the output of if you're like working with Python.
Right, let me check that again.
See your like here, so you the panel.
Drop down.
And
okay, so this drop down kind of like lets you choose what type of editor this is. Let's see. Alt with Alt, 1, 2, 3. It always makes a sound for me, I don't know why. 1, 2, 3, it always makes a sound for me. Animation editor. Okay. So I can easily split this, right? Just like this, and then I want my animation editor here. Can I animate this somehow? Names. This doesn't seem to change anything. Okay, let's continue.
Look at like there's a few options that we might talk about at some point. And there's an animation editor that you can also have that you might want to work with if you're like working with keyframe animation. And so you could have something like the geometry viewer up here and then something like the text port down here, which is just kind of giving you the output of if you're like working with Python. Like so this is just for Python. If you're writing a script, then the arrows and like prints are gonna be showing up here. We can click on this arrow and then on close again to close this. Oops, because we're not gonna need it right now. I'm now gonna talk a bit about the navigation system. These darker, bigger ones are components, and you can zoom into them. And when you start a new project,
gray ones.
so before I do that, you can use your left mouse to drag and drop around, and you can use your mouse wheel to go in and out of these containers. So there's always at the beginning, there's this project 1 main container at the root. So right now we're at the so-called root or at home. So I can't like zoom out any further here. You can also always get here. If I'm in here, you can always click on the home to get back here. We don't need to talk about these for now. If I, like, you can see this is called project 1. If I now dive into here, you can now see we're now inside project 1. And this is called geo 1. If I dive in here, we are now in geo 1. And now I can like, click on that to go back, for example. Nice. You can also navigate through these by using U and I. So if I press U, you go one layer up. And if I press I, you go into the selected container. And also there is this, which looks, this square. If you click on that, the current layer that you're in is going to be output here. And so this is different to the perform mode, because in the perform mode everything else gets closed, and here you have still have your network to work in, but you can also see several of these if you wanted to. So you have like a window here. And then we also, like one last thing for the navigation, you also have this bookmark, little bookmark symbol here. So you can bookmark this page, and if I'm like deep inside several layers, I can just easily go in there and then select that. All right, so I'm gonna dive deeper into the whole operator system, but just very briefly. As I said, you can like drag and drop around with the left mouse, zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. You can also right-click anywhere to get the general right-click menu, and also you can right-click on any operator. And if you have an operator selected, you can see up here there's this menu, this parameter kind of section, and that changes according to whatever operator you have selected. So
hey,
on this
Kilo, what's up?
in the section here, you have like the type, the name. The name is also here.
Learning TouchDesigner right
always
now.
there's a few
it's not
tabs,
such an
and
easy
there's always
program.
a comment page, and you also have the option to turn on this. So if you have that turned on,
Much
only
different
the
than the
parameters that
other
you've changed
tools
if
I've
you change
used to
this,
this point.
only the changed ones are gonna appear here. And then you also have like this help and Python help. So if you click on this, you're gonna be directed to the wiki of this specific operator, and the same with the Python. All right, then we have this timeline section down here. I'm not going to talk about that too much, because it gets a bit complicated or confusing in the beginning, and it still is to me sometimes.
TouchDesigner is for creating visuals
you can
in an interactive way. Like it's all real time, and you can also deploy it as its own programs. So you can use it for art installations and stuff like that, or you can export videos and make like generative art with it.
Seconds long, as you can see here, and you can also just you can just go through that right here. But and right now we're not really using the timeline. But the time's just like constantly going there in the background. We can change the length of this if we wanted to. Now it's longer. The hour start and hour end just is referring to this blue section. So this blue one, this is kind of the it's not relevant in the beginning. And we also have like tempo reasoning in the background. You have the time in hours. So if I press, so sometimes like this pauses everything that's going on in here. So the animation isn't moving anymore. So sometimes in the beginning there might be a problem, and the problem might be that you have paused. So just press space or play here to pause and play. You can also go back in time, though I never use that. You can also, like by clicking plus and minus, you can go through every frame by frame, and you also have this range limit here. So usually this is just looping frame animation, or when you do things like exporting. So if you want to export a loop, then you're going to need the timeline.
Yes, we can get into that now.
Of data. So it's really data, or like pixel data, texture data, audio data, so like channel data or anything like that. So it's all really data in the end. It's all, when it really comes down to it, it's all just zeros and ones, and really go to the core. So it's really important to understand that, and TouchDesigner makes great use of that. So we have different so-called operator families that deal with different type of that data. So we can add a new operator and to have a look at the different families and their operators that they are.
Tutorial done here.
Then we have a few different options. So we can access this menu, in 4 ways. One is by clicking this plus button, and the other one is by right-clicking anywhere and then saying Add Operator. But I would recommend either using the tab, so the 2 arrows on your keyboard, or just double-clicking with your left mouse anywhere, but on operators. All right, so when you open this dialog, so-called OP, so Operator Create Dialog, you can see this this huge list of operators and the different families that are in different colors. You also have a little search bar up here that we're going to talk about. So you have 6 main families, and 5 of them are kind of basic operations, and then there's the components that are a bit special. You also have the option to add your own custom components, or to use custom components that other people have made, but we're not going to get into that. All right, so I'm going to just explain what all of these families do. We have the tops, and these names are a bit weird in the beginning, like top, chop, stop, but it's fine, you're going to get used to it. These are just abbreviations. So top stands for texture operators, and these are the violet ones. Stuff. So texture operators deal with all kinds of 2D imagery, anything that's got to do with like pixels. So you can input video and image files. You can process that and change those files. You can create 2D shapes like circles, rectangles, and those kind of shapes. And you can you can output 2D imagery as well. So like kind of export videos or images. You can also work with text in TOPS, and you can also render 3D geometry with TOPS. So not only with TOPS, this works in connection with other families, but with TOPS you can make a 3D geometry kind of be a 2D image. We're going to get to that later. So what's really important is that TOPS are working with 2D images, and that TOPS are working on your graphics card. So these are completely computed on your TPU. So they're relatively fast. You also have the CHOP family. So CHOP stands for channel operators, and channel operators deal with all kinds of data and signals. So I mean, as I just said in the beginning, they're all dealing with data in a way, but these are like dealing with like signals. So you have things like if you're looking for anything that's got to do with audio.
Look at the LFO here.
CHOPs are using audio channels, or like dealing with
there
audio
we go.
channels.
Okay, so
You have things like creating a random number with noise, for example. So this is like a channel, and using an algorithm to create that. You have things like an LFO that just goes that's just based on a sine wave, and you can input things like MIDI controllers. You can input a Kinect, a Leap Motion, and other anything like other devices that use channel data. That kind of output you like positions and numbers and stuff.
Oh my
god!
god!
So all of that is mostly going to CHOPS.
Something is happening.
We'll talk about that in a second. All right, so these are like the green. This is the green family, and then we have SOPs, the blue one. SOPs stands for surface operators, and surface operators are anything that's got to do with 3D geometry. So these are for creating things like a sphere in 3D, which we can actually interact with, or like a box that we can also interact with, and anything that's got to do with 3D geometry, primitives, and all that kind of stuff is working in SOPs. Yeah, so I don't think I need to say much more here. We also have mats, which stands for materials. So if we have like a box and we want to put like an image on that box, or like just a color, or if we want to shape a sphere or something, then we can use mats to do so. We can use materials to put an image, a color, or a shader onto any kind of 3D geometry.
So can I import
the next one is DATs. DATs is this red family, and DATs are dealing with all kinds of plain text. So you have like they're kind of called the data family, but they also box, and we want to put like, so I don't think I need to say much more here. We also have mats, which stands for materials.
Materials.
So if we have like a box and we want to put like an image on that box, or like just a color, or if we want to shape a sphere or something, then we can use mats to do so. We can use materials to put an image, a color, or a shader onto any kind of 3D geometry. The next one is DATs. DATs is this red family, and DATs are dealing with all kinds of plain text. So you have like they're kind of called the data family, but they also they're also dealing with data like CHOPs are, but in a different way. So you can also input things like a CSV file, and that's going to be in the DAT family, and you can write text in DATs. You have things like scripts in DATs, so like Python scripts, GLSL scripts. So for example, if you're working with GLSL and drop a GLSL top in here, you get two DATs, one like they're coming with it, and one is where you actually type the shader, and one is where it outputs errors and stuff like that, info about the shader. So anything that's got to do with text is going on in the DATs. Last but not least, we have the comms, and they're a bit different than the others because, what makes them different mostly is that they can hold other families or also other components. So comm stands for components. And also there are inside components, there are different types of components. So we have components that deal with 3D objects. So if we want to convert, what I was talking about, if we want to like kind of convert 3D geometry to 2D imagery. So if we want to render something, then we're going to need components like a camera, like a light, and a geometry. We also have things like environment lights, ambient lights. We can import things like FBX, USD, and some other things there. Then we also have the so-called panels. So these are mainly for building interfaces and outputting projects. And we also have things like the buttons, sliders, widgets, which is going to be used for building UIs. And we have other so-called other components, which is like a base. You can just zoom in and hold other components in here, so it's kind of like a folder. We have things like the animation comp. If you drop that down, you have you can edit keyframe animation in there, and then use that data to do animation. We have a replicator, which I'm going to talk about later. And we have the dynamic section, which is for fluid simulation, physics simulation, and that sort of stuff. All right. So
Merge.
what's
Match
important
should
about
be good.
operator families is that you can't connect one.
There
As you can
we
see
go,
here, these
okay.
are two different families. You can convert from one to the other, but you can't connect from like one with the other. So I can't just take this operator, which is a top, and connect it to here. It's just going to close its entrance there. So this is a chop, this is a top, and I can't just connect those because it's a different data format. So what I can do is convert them from one to the other. So this doesn't work on every family, but for example, if you have a chop, you can easily convert it to a top, as you can see here. So here we just have a noise chop, which is creating these pseudo-random numbers between 0 and 1, and we're just converting those into a grayscale format. So here we have them like represented. What we have here as just a number, here we have it represented as actual like pixel data, right? Grayscale data. All right. So in the next one, we're going to look at operators more closely. That's it for the operator families now.
Okay, dokie.
All right, some more dry stuff
Starting to
before
make
we'll
sense.
soon actually get to the first fun part. I'm going to try to explain a bit how an operator is structured and how you can actually connect operators to each other. So I'm going to, with the right mouse button, I'm going to select all of these and delete them. And now I can, as I showed before, just double click and add a noise here, or any type of operator, but this is like one of my favorite operators. So what you have here with with every operator is that you have this parameter page up here, which you can toggle and turn on off with P, and you always have like the corresponding values on here. So if I change something on here, you can instantly see the image changing as well, or whatever content you have, depending on the type of family. So what you can also do, I'm going to explain that in a second. So you also always have these buttons here and these buttons down here. So what you can do is you can turn, like this is called the viewer, so like the part here. So this is, in this case, it's an image. I'm gonna drop different noises of different families so we can have different examples. And we're gonna need something that it's based on. You don't need to do this right now, it's okay. So we now have this noise that's going too fast. And we now have always have like this viewer, as you can see, and we always have these colored buttons that also, as you can see, they're changing depending on what type of family we have. So we now have a stop, a top, and a chop here, and we always have these. Cool. So what they mean is, so as I just said, this is the viewer, and here you can turn that off. So you can when you turn off the viewer, you can see changes from the image or the visualization of the contents of the operator to a free numbered abbreviation of the type of operator that it is. So this is a grid. I can change the name. It's always going to say GRD, and this is a noise, so it's always going to say NOI. So I can turn this on and off. And for SOPs, this actually makes quite a lot of sense, because otherwise it needs to render all of these, because you can see them here, so they need to be rendered. So let's turn these off actually.
Nice.
This I've never really using, and this is not important for beginners. So before I explain this, there's also this lock here.
Nice.
If you click on that, the current frame is going to be locked. So if I connect something else here, then that is also taking this locked image. But if this was still moving, this wouldn't be affected, because generally, and this is quite important actually, the flow of data is always going from left to right. So left, each of the operators has an operator input on the left, or not all of them have inputs, most of them have inputs, and all of them have outputs, and then you can connect them to each other. All right, so how do I actually, I'm going to get to this error in a second, how do I actually connect operators to each other? So what I can do now is use is just drop an edge here, for example. I'm going to make this bigger. So when I just drop that, I can now left click on here and just drag this over there, and now it's connected, as you can see. There's also an easier way. You can just right click on this output here and drop in an edge then, or any kind of operator really. And yeah, so cool. What we might want to add another operator inside of here. So there's you do that by right clicking. So if I hover over this connection, you can see it gets yellow. So and I can right click on this, and there's two options here to add or insert an operator. So if I click on add, if I just add a blur here, for example, I just turn this higher so you can actually see what's going on, and then you can see because I clicked add operator, it added this to here, but it didn't like connect to there. So to do this, let's actually click on insert operator, And maybe let's take a transform and just rotate this by 90 degrees. And now as you see, it's connected here, and it's also connected to the next one. So we inserted it in between of those. For the add operator, if I want to use this noise as a base for a second something, I can also just middle mouse click here and use a transform on this, and I don't know, change this to 180, and then you can see it's taken both the same like base input, but we have two different outputs, so this could be done as often as you want. And now I can also just take this and drag that in there, and it's going to be replacing this one. There's also things like a composite top, where you get this kind of input, where you can just drag in several ones, and they're going to be composited together, so I can coverage, and then you get this sort of look, or I don't know, subtract. I mean, yeah. So we're going to get to that as well. I just wanted to show you can input as many here as you want to, and they're always going to be like added together. And you also have the same with outputs sometimes, and here you can see you have two different inputs, and one says like background image, and one says noise coordinate map, and so you always kind of see what kind of input you need to attach to. All right, so now to the bypass flag here. They're all called flags, I think. As you can see, I'm a total pro. If I wanted to see how this looks without, well, actually, let's delete this and connect this again. So if I wanted to see how this looks without the transform, I can just bypass this, and it just kind of skips this operator. And I don't know, I could do the same if I just, whoops. If I add another one here with right click, I can now also bypass this, and it bypasses both of them. And then we can just see, in this case, it's more or less the same image at the end. But now if I unbypass this, you can't see anything here anymore. Or if I unbypass this as well, then you can see it's taking into account all of the operators in the line. So how do we disconnect? We can just drag this away. Yeah, so we can do that, or we can just right click on here, say disconnect. Whoops. Back to beam15. So yeah, so you can just drag there to connect, drag this away to disconnect, or yeah, or you can right click on here, say disconnect. All right, so same here, obviously. You can bypass this, and then we can just see the grid that we saw here in the beginning,
okay.
and without the noise in between. Also, we have this viewer active button down here. So this is not very important on here, so you can go around, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. So if you just went there, you can press H. We're going to get to that in a second, because that's a very important shortcut. And yeah,
fun.
then you're going to get back to the data that's important. You can also drag this around, but it really doesn't make a lot of sense with tops. Most importantly, we use the viewer active on subs and DATs. So on subs, it's really there too, so you can kind of look at just with the left mouse button, you can look at the geometry that's in there. Also, you can do things like press W, and then you'll see the wireframe version of this geometry. And you can do, like if you press the middle mouse, you can zoom in and out. And you can also do a lot of things like, I don't know, go to the display options. This is very confusing in the beginning. You can just turn on the points there, and then you can see all the different points used. And yeah, so that's very useful using this viewer active. Also, this viewer active is important for DATs, as I said. So if we have a text DAT, we can click on this viewer active and then write something in there. So like a script or something like that. Something like that. Sorry. So we can also go to the edit up here. So in any that you can type something in here, but you can also edit whatever is typed in there. So if there's like a long Python script, you don't really want to use this. You can scroll down and everything, but it doesn't have like color and anything like that. So there it is again. We can also click on edit, and then we're going to edit it in an external editor, like text editor. But we're going to get to that when we're at when we're working with that. Also, we have things like buttons or sliders. I'll show a button. We can, like, if I can't press this, if I double click on it, actually, we're zooming in there, so it's a comp, but I can make this viewer active, and now I can use this button. So I can use whatever I kind of made in here. So you can see this is just a top in here with a couple of chops and that, and this comp, by clicking on this, we can now use whatever we made available in there. All right. So I've quickly talked about this, but this is one of the most important pages when you, or like a very important page or part of an operator is the parameter page. So as I said, you can change the parameters here. Obviously, you have the same thing on any kind of operator, and also on the comps, on some of them. And they're changing corresponding to the different operators that we're on. So yeah. The thing is about these numbers here. So you always have like sliders and kind of like lists you can choose from, so drop down lists and buttons and all that kind of things. The thing is with these values here, as you can see, is going from 0 to 4, 2 actually, but it was just 4. So you can type in any kind of number here, and yeah, it's gonna still do that. So TouchDesigner really, like, not on 100% all of them, but on most of these parameters, you can really change this to anything. Also like minus, but it doesn't allow minus for this one, but on a lot of them, you can go to minus as well. So if this amplitude just goes to 10, these are kind of, they're just set by the developers, so that because they thought, I think that's how it went, they thought this is probably a good base value to be played with. But if I want this to be higher, I can just do that, and I think that's great because you can just kind of, because you're free to do whatever you want. So that's one important thing. Also, there's a few other things here. So there's the type here, and then there's the name. So you can either name an operator here, so name here, or you can, as you can see, change there. So I can also change it if I just type it there. And then we have all of these things. These are not very important actually for now. What's important is this, maybe, because if you click on that, you now see only the parameters that aren't at their default state. So if I just right-click on you, say reset all parameters, and click on this, now it's empty because we didn't change any parameters. But now if I change the period and click on that, now it's there. And this could also be interesting if you're looking at somebody else's project, then you can just click on that and see what they've changed. Also, we have different sort of tabs here. There's a common tab on, I think, every operator, where you have basic things like the resolution of this. So I can change this to like 800 by 600 for whatever reason.
Like a switch thing?
We have some other stuff we're going to get to later.
Yes.
Things like time slicing. I'm going to explain when we get to chops and all those things. And you can also select several operators and then change the resolution for all of them. And also, if you click on one of the parameters, you now see these 4 different boxes here. So and the basic one is really just a constant, so you can type in, as I just did, different values in there. If you go on the second one, you now have the Python expression field, so I can do something like, maybe not on here, it's probably best to just do this on here. So this is a Python expression often used, so I can just say apps time.seconds. It just gives me a time of the software that's constantly running in the background. And uses that for this, like, going through the noise space. You don't have to understand that. Just so you know, you can like write Python expressions in here, and then you can see
something is
this is being animated all the way through there. You can look at that.
Oh, the problem was that the metaverse don't have
you also have
geometry
export.
then, I guess?
I'm going to get to that.
So it works
I never
with
really used that either.
plates.
Basically, just use this. And we also have this last one called binding, but this is mostly important for when you're using widgets later on. All right, so mostly you just need these 2 or 3 first ones. All right, so I hope I've explained everything this time. It's not the first time I record. Yeah, so
I guess I can just go
the next one we're going to look at saving files, because that's a bit special in TouchDesigner. And then we're actually going to start to do some cool stuff. All right, see you in the next one. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to save files, how to create project folders, and how to structure them. So to save a file, you either go to the file menu here. So you have a few options here, so you can just create a new project here. I'm going to get to this in a second. Create project folder, and you can also open other files or open recent ones. And you also here you can save and save as, and importing and exporting. So if you can also just press Control S, and it's going to open your Explorer. And I've just created a sample folder called my folder. And now if I just save this here, you can see it's now saved as new project.1. So the great thing about TouchDesigner is that it creates versions. It might be a bit confusing in the beginning or weird, but it's actually really great because I can now save this, change something here. I don't know, rotating this cube, and save this again. And as you can see up here, it increments the number. So now, whoops.
Hey, Keanu. I'm just learning TouchDesigner right now.
My folder here. It automatically, the TouchDesigner automatically created a backup folder, and now you can see the base project and also the current number. And if you go into the backup, you see the previous versions. So now if I go back to Touch and save this a couple of times, you can now see there's we now have the current version here, so number 8, and the backup there's all the other versions. So now if I did something currently here and saved it, then I want to go back to an older version because I don't know, I messed up, for example. Then you can just go to your backup and then open an old file and then save that as a new one if you want to, for example. So these are just versions. So every time you save, a new version is going to be created. So it's pretty nice. You don't have to worry about messing something up. You can always go back if you save often enough. And it also doesn't matter if this goes very high. The files are very small, as you can see, just a few kilobytes. So you can really go crazy with saving. So now to the create project folder option here. So if you click on that, this little dialog opens and you can specify where you want to save your folder and how you want to call it, and if you want to rename the file to this name. And you can also click on these checkboxes to create folders automatically. So if I click on create, you can now see in my new project, my folder, so in my project folder, or the direction that I specified, you can now see the new project folder being created, or haven't been created. And now and there is your projects, and the folders, of course they're empty right now, but the folders that you automatically created.
Okay, now I can animate.
So generally what I recommend is not just using these. So I also don't usually call this image, but I do usually make a media folder. So where I put all kinds of images inside, or like video files that I'm needing for the project. And usually I also have this audio folder where my audio files are in, obviously. And then there's this backup folder always. I usually also have an export folder, so where I export my things to. So it's like a usual kind of setup for my folders. So for example, it's here. I have this folder for, like, I had this challenge in March where I did something every day, where like I made a project every day, and I just have this one folder where it puts everything, save everything in, and then I have like this export folder here. Didn't need the other ones, the other folders. All right, so much to saving and folders, and I'll see you on the next one.
Now it's animating it? Maybe?
Alright, so in this video I want to quickly go over how you can get help,
yes.
At least for TouchDesigner. And yeah, so we have like this help menu up here. I'm going to get back to that in a second, and we have these free links here. And if you click on the wiki, surprisingly, you're going to be taken to the wiki.
Okay.
So you're going to be landing on this page here. And so this is really not that much about if you have like a specific question or like a problem that this is more like...
Wait a second. So I'm guessing... if you want to get information like this one, for example, I probably need to get the channel name somehow. Kiana says, when watching a tutorial, what approach to take? Watch it first, then follow along, or follow along from the get-go. I like the basics, like I like to watch the very basics tutorial about like interface and stuff, just like watching the tutorial, right? And then everything above that by doing it myself, by sometimes like this, just like have the video playing in the background and kind of like try to follow along in real time, or just watch a part of the video, and then like when you feel, okay, this I can't keep remembering, you just like try it out, and then you continue watching. That's how I usually do it. Okay, I got this animation thing going now. It's interesting. So animation is always stored in one of these animation blocks, I guess. It's a green one. So chop animation. Where is it? What type is this? Okay, well, it kind of works. I'm slowly understanding. Very slowly. But the time also is almost over for New Tuesday, so I think I have to keep learning it in my free time if I want to create some interactive art. So yeah, I can like add points here. Make them switch back and forth. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this program definitely has a steep learning curve. It's not so easy to grasp and understand because it works pretty different to other programs. But at least I feel like I'm making progress. I'm making progress learning this. Oh, I feature! Was geht ab, Alter? Liebe geht zurück. I feature my friend. He's a very, very good musician, very talented musician. You guys should check him out. He's also doing music for my projects a lot of times. So yeah, definitely a very talented guy worth checking out. Okay. Yeah, this is a complex program. But like, yeah, you can do a lot with this. You can do like a lot of interactive experiences and even virtual reality stuff, as I just saw. Like there's so many so many VR notes here, open VR notes. So yeah, it would be, because I got a project, I talked about a project yesterday where I want to visualize kind of like how people see or like imagine things. So yeah, I want to maybe use TouchDesigner to do that. I feature with a praise. Thanks, man. Thank you. But yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna close the new tool Tuesday now, and I'll start the timer again, the 10-minute timer. Be sure to watch the last 20 or 30 seconds of the timer because I created a countdown song. I feature Jan. Maybe you could give me some feedback on the song I created for for the stream countdown. I had a lot of fun creating it, but I did it like an hour before the stream, so I think I did it in an hour, yeah. But yeah, guys, I'll close this stream now and start up the next one immediately. So I'll see everyone in 10 minutes for the Create Together live stream, where we'll go through student submissions and maybe work on the weekly challenge together. Yeah, let's see. I'll see you soon.